going with Resident Evil 7. Day 1 patch. Dude, the Day 1 patch for Mass Effect Andromeda gonna be crazy. They better fix all those animations. I don't know why I'm in this weird pose now, but there's a lot of fucking issues with that. But a more excited, and we can even talk about the PR for Resident Evil 7 here too, going from Mass Effect to this, because they didn't show a lot of Resident Evil 7. They really didn't. But they had a demo, they had some gameplay, you kind of knew what to expect, and it worked out really well for him. My story with Resident Evil 7 is very strange, and a lot of, like, very few, if any, other people probably played this game the way I did, because, like, first of all, I should say I love this game. I love it, and I hated the demo. And I hated PT, so that should be all on the table. But before that, I played this game to roughly the halfway point, and then I wanted to stream it, but I didn't want to stream further ahead of where I was, so I started the game almost over and streamed from there. And in that stream, I got further than I was the first time. And then I kept playing the game and leapfrogged my progress again. And then I was going to stream the game on the Kinda Funny Best Friends Twitch account, and I was like, I'll try and do a speed run because I think I'm at the very end. I wasn't at the very end, but I ended up getting even further than I was. Then I went back to my other save game, which was behind it. So I've effectively played this game almost 3 times through. Almost 3 complete playthroughs. About 20 hours total. The one campaign that I did finish, it was about 10 hours. And I'm going to finish my speed run tonight and hopefully get that achievement for beating it under 4 hours. This game is phenomenal. I am a huge Resident Evil fan, and I think there are some concerns and issues with it not being super Resident Evil-y, but we can get to that later. However, what they've done to capture the original spirit of exploring a spooky place and finding items and turning them over is incredible, and I think it has tons of room to grow, and it can be so much more complicated and intricate as it goes forward. And that's kind of maybe a little goofy to say, like, oh, the next one's going to be this. Well, the next one could be amazing. And it could be even more amazing because this game is incredible. Truly incredible. I loved basically every second of it, even going back through the game and finding new secrets or new routes of, like, oh, I don't... if I unlock this, then I can go over there. And if I kill this guy now, I won't have to fight him later. Or if I wait till he does this, then I can explore the house and I'm safe until this happens. Like, you start to see all the story beats. And as fun as it is to explore this entire, I don't know, house. I was gonna say world, but it's, you know, it's very micro. It's so much fun to explore it and to see, and like these undiscovered things, the jump scares, the stuff that happens that you can only capture that first time. Some amazing stuff, and it basically takes you through the best of Resident Evil. You know, like, it's got a house, it's got a little cabin place, it's got some other things as the game goes on. Yeah, and they did such a fantastic job, and it's almost incredible because, as I said, I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I love even 5 and 6, you know, like, I'll defend 6. 6 is a broken mess, but I love it. Not as much as the other ones, but I mean, how could you? It's what they've managed to do here does bring so much new life into it, with like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre influences and some stuff like that. And it all ties in with the story. Like, some of these things that are happening seem ridiculous, but it ties in not only with the Resident Evil story as a whole, which is still very vague on, but in its own little story. And it's nice to see these nods. I wish some nods were more direct in terms of enemies. Like, there's this one enemy that kind of has an arm that's mutated and weird that looks like Krauser or Nemesis arm. There's some Nemesis eye stuff going on too in the game. But I wish they took that a little further. There's one enemy in particular that I feel like could have been a licker, and just... I can defend 6, but I won't now. Who cares? That one enemy that crawls on the floor could have been a licker. I'm not saying he should have been a giant pink weird tongue monster. It basically is a licker, but it doesn't look like it enough. If they just gave it a tongue and had that tongue lapping around and maybe had him crawl on walls and ceilings, that'd be incredible. But That's just me wanting to see more Resident Evil stuff. As a huge fan, this game does not end with a rocket launcher, and I think that's kind of sacrilege, but there's nothing there's very few things like this experience. And there's other games like Amnesia, which I really didn't like, that has the whole hiding. This game has that in spades, where the guy jumps through the wall and you're running away and you're hiding behind the thing, and even when you're hiding from the wife in the shadows, she's got the light. Super just so much fun to play, and it's not even that scary, because eventually after the first 2 or 3 hours it starts breaking down into, I know what to do, I know where I'm going, I know what's happening, let me get there. And you have to deal with item management in a way that you haven't since 3. I mean, some of this stuff is in 4, and it mostly feels like if you were to remake 1 with more combat in first person, and that's the biggest compliment, especially since I played the game 3 times. I've done essentially a speed run now of the game, and it's just as fun. Knowing the story beats and knowing what's going to happen doesn't devalue it at all. It's just as fun that first time through, and the second time through, you're knowing like, oh, I know what to do here, I know what to do there. The third time through is Crazy Town. Now you know everything, and you're just finding out. I can't wait to go and finish my speed run, or to go find all the bobbleheads. I'm gonna look up a guide and find all the bobbleheads. There's so much to do here. It really isn't like a little game. Sure, you can beat it in 10 hours, but I think, and I'm not even a guy who goes and finishes games multiple times. That's the crazy thing. I don't. I usually do not do that. But this has so much, like this scene right here is exactly what I'm talking about. This doesn't have to happen. He cut off my leg, then I had to go grab the leg, and he's like offering his little first aid med, and so I can crawl over like a wounded puppy and heal my leg back up. This doesn't need to happen. The first boss fight has 2 ways that I know of for it to happen that are completely different and incredible in how different, but the same, but like just experiences. And the other boss fights kind of have their own thing too, and they're very Resident Evil-y. They're very Resident Evil. Oh, I was going, well, something about greatest hits. It is a greatest hits in a way with the environment and all that. It does retread. I think areas to like go further from this. I would love to see a more complex house, more like the mansion in Resident Evil 1, because this, while this is amazing, it's the second time through, and even this time through, you start to see how small it is. Like, it is 2 stories with I guess 3 stories if you count the little basement area. And the next area is pretty linear and like 7 rooms. It falls into the trap that a lot of Resident Evil games fall into. And Resident Evil 1 did this, where it was mansion, and then like outside kind of linear area, and then the what was it, the little dormitory area. And the dormitory had not as many rooms, it wasn't as complicated, but it was a little slice of the mansion. And this game just feels like this mansion or big house is basically the cabin or that dormitory in Resident Evil 1. Like, it's not as big, and I would love to see them go further with it. There's a portion towards the middle, yeah, I'll get to that in a second. The portion towards the middle that is incredible and so smart and very evocative of Revelations 1, without spoiling it. This looks a little framey, but whatever. That's so fucking smart. The middle of the game is so smart. It's not even the middle, it's like the last third. So many great decisions, and that's exactly my point. What, my leg never got cut off? Time to replay it. Fuck yes. Your leg can get cut off, and it's like, it doesn't have to happen. There's so many weird little things that you might not ever even see. Like, there's things too. I've fought this one boss, I won't even say what it is, 3 times. I'm still not sure what it's doing at one stage of this fight. And I've heard even a completely different fight, the one with the pillar in it, there's supposedly some way to do it that's not the way like a lot of people are going to see it. I'm like, that's so incredibly interesting, and it seems very much encouraging, just like all the, people created a scene around Resident Evil 1 of oh, this is like beat the game without using ink ribbons, or beat the game in under this time. And even, yeah, actually back then they did give you bonuses for beating the game in a short amount of time. That's what they're doing with the trophies and finding all these collectibles and finding all the upgrades. You can upgrade your stamina and stuff by finding these little treasures or using the little antique coins. I think the rewards with that are very limited, and I'd love to see more of that, like more unlockables. I'd love to see like the sequel to this game, if they don't fuck it up, could be so amazing. And the fact that I played 20 hours of this game, basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a little bit today, is unbelievable. And I think 4 is my favorite, and this might be my close second now. It's so fucking good. There are, not since maybe Bayonetta, which I love, did I immediately go back and want to play again when I beat it. You know, there are other games, like I love Dark Souls, but I don't beat Dark Souls and like immediately start a new round. You know, that's not a thing I do anymore, or really have I've ever since I was 12. But oh god, primo good shit. I think there's some problems with the story. I would have loved to have seen more Resident Evil characters, more classic characters. Like, there's really no reason for this to be a 7. It really should just be a reboot. You know, it basically is a reboot with a 7 on it. I don't understand the decision behind that, besides that you can put the 7 in the logo and make it look cool. There's really no reason for that. And the few references we do get, they're so sideways and weird that it's like, this might as well be in a reimagining. And I think the series has gone on long enough that we can start it kind of over and maybe retell it. There's one character in this game that part of me, I'm like, man, she looks kind of like Rebecca. I wish this was Rebecca. I wish this was this. I wish this had, I know it's dumb, but I love the Resident Evil story and how just incredibly incomprehensible it is. But I love it. I love seeing Chris and Jill. I would have loved to have seen Sheva. Anyone I would have loved to have seen. More references, more things into it. I would have loved that. And that's the thing that bothers me about it being 7. It's so self-contained and really does nothing to kind of tie itself in. It almost is like shoehorned in, of like, oh, put an umbrella here, you know? Yeah, I would have loved to see Leon and Rebecca again. Instead, we get someone who may or may not be, who cares about spoil? This is not, it may or may not be Chris. It doesn't look like him, but it can't really be anyone else. And like, that's a cool nod and all. But man, this is like 7. This is Resident Evil 7. This isn't Resident Evil, a side story in Louisiana or whatever. You know, this is a main entry. And the fact that there's one Resident Evil character in this, and there isn't even a reference to like the BSAA or whatever. There's the Wesker reference. There's a couple Raccoon City references. That one boat should have been the Revelations boat. Like, they could have tied it in. And maybe that's stupid for me not buff enough to be Chris, right? Not buff enough to be Chris. Well, he's kind of fluctuated. He's got some weight issues, some body image issues. But I would have liked it to be tied more in. Like if Evelyn would have been, I think I do have a spoilers. If Evelyn had been someone, like if there had been a clear lineage of like, maybe she was very clearly made by New Umbrella, which Umbrella is back, like, New Umbrella. I'm not even clear on the story now. It's been years since 6, but give me something. Give me some ties into there. There's also some loose threads of the son who isn't even, like, who somehow has resisted the mind control. And he just disappears. Where did he go? I'd love to see that. I know there's DLC coming. There's like a bunch of, maybe like 4 bonus episodes, and one focusing on the combat, which I think is I haven't even mentioned. The combat is loose and goofy and doesn't work right in a way that's perfect for Resident Evil. and I'll get rid of the spoilers. And it's so much fun. Like towards the end, you do end up fighting quite a bit more, but you're never really you're only the only you'll be worried about ammo, but you don't need to be. You get plenty of it, and if you just kill everything, they don't really respawn until certain points in the game, so it's not a big deal. You can just kill everything and have a grand old time, and it does a nice job of a later game. We took everything away, now rebuild, now have spookies again. But again, it's not very, I don't think it's very scary at all. Barring a few jump scares and a few things that happen, it really, I was so bummed out by the demo. I wish I could have like a picture-in-picture of me like talking about the demo and being like so mad. Like, this is not Resident Evil. The demo was very much, oh, here's a baby doll that drops on you. Ooh, we're being spooky. And I'm like, this, and it had this dread and this, like, I didn't know what was going to happen. It was dripping with this suspense that was palpable, that is not Resident Evil. I replayed Resident Evil 1 HD last October and was like, yeah, it misses the entire point. That demo is stupid. And I think borderline terrible in terms of what this game actually is. The game itself is incredible, and exactly what I'd want from Resident Evil. The first person view adds quite a bit to it. The enemies always, like the guy and the girl who are kind of patrolling their areas. The guy and the girl. It doesn't become nemesis-y. You in fact don't have to fight them. I never even did. I've never shot them unless it was during a fight with them. Because you don't need to, you can run away. It has that style of you can still run away. You can still conserve ammo. I want to try doing it on hard mode. The game's, I think, incredible. I don't know how they managed to do this, and I cannot wait to see in 3 years maybe Resident Evil 8, which is now ridiculous. I think they should stop with the numbers, but at the same time, I kind of want to see them in Final Fantasy keep counting. Just keep going up with the numbers to get ridiculous. But the next game after this, as long as they follow this formula and just make it more expanded, make this mansion even more convoluted, don't have it rely on this. There's very clear structure to this of like, this is this area, this is this area. Make it less cohesive in that sense, so that you're on your toes. And that could be one of the best games ever made. As it stands, this is easily going to be one of my favorite games of the year, in a year that is front-loaded with a ton of great stuff. I mean, from Mass Effect to Neo to Zelda, Persona 5, Horizon, within the first 4 months of the year. Unbelievable start to the year. So amazing. And actually, my favorite game last year was The Witness, which also came out in January. It's a good month. It's a good month for me and games. But I love it. Love the game. I'm glad to see people are liking this. It was a bummer being a Resident Evil fan and having like 6 come out. And I liked it. I mean, it's a good game, but it's got a lot of problems. And people shit all over that game. And then Revelations is like, it's a 3DS game. And they port it over and no one cares. And Revelations 2 comes out. And I love that game. It's the closest we've gotten to Resident Evil 4 since Resident Evil 4. And no one played it. Like, no one played Revelations 2. Whatever. I really hope we get Revelations 3. But even if we don't, we still got fucking Resident Evil 7. And I'm so happy that people are excited about Resident Evil again. One of my favorite series, clearly, that I like way too much. And there's tape. Oh, I gotta end it right here. I gotta end it right after this next scene, because it does these things that happen in it. They're only surprising the first time, and even you should know they're coming, and it's just so good and juicy to feel. It's like watching a movie in all its campy glory. This is especially campy, the scene before here. Don't think I finished Revelation 2. Revelation 2 is great. I think it's really good. It kind of got a little goofy with its episodic nature, but I mean, that's fine. It went a little overboard with that, and like you'd split between the two parties. And I wish they'd go back. Like, this is a nice step in that direction of you're alone, because Revelations 2 you always had a partner. You couldn't switch to them, or you could, but they didn't fight. Like, they were basically a non-combat participant. your partner, and it wasn't co-op in any way, but it kept alternating between them. It was really good in terms of the closest we got to Resident Evil 4, and it added in a dodge button, which I think this game needs. It really needs a sidestep or something, because so often I was trying to like maneuver and I couldn't see very well. I think this would be a good, especially in VR, if you could run forward and look to the side, that would be great for this game. That would add that would improve a lot of the boss fights, in particular like this one where I'm like, where the fuck is he? I don't know. I'm spinning around trying to move. A dodge, instead of a block button, I would rather a dodge, like just a quick dodge to the side. That's what I'd rather. This fight's really cool because you can, what happens? Oh my god. That's what I'm wondering, if there's other ways. Like there's a fight at the end and I shot the grenade launcher with the fire rounds, and I shot the wall on accident, like I missed, and it caught the arena on fire, which doesn't have to happen. There's just a bunch of weird little touches like that. I haven't been this excited about Resident Evil since 4. I certainly haven't played a Resident Evil like this with this fervor since 4. I love 4. Easily top 5 games. I'm saying that a lot. Easily XYZ. top 10 games of all time is Resident Evil 4. I'm not saying this would be up there. Also, can you drop this motorcycle on him? I feel like that's got to be another way to do it. There's so many cool things. I love this part. I love this. Because when I saw this happen, I was completely blown away. Like, I don't even know what to expect. What the fuck is happening? I have no ammo in this scenario, and I'm just freaking out. I loved it. And it's very easy to dodge, but it's very suspenseful. They should get a medal. We need to get the Nobel Peace Prize on the phone. They need a medal for this game. Oh, this fight alone, such a strong opening. Like, it has a very strong opening and a very strong, like, 1 hour from start to hour 3 or 4. The strongest fucking shit. And not that the game gets worse, but you get used to it. And it doesn't affect you in the same way. Man. Dude, I'm seriously consider a replay. And start to look at it from that speedrun aspect too. Because you can start going like, okay, I don't need any weapons now. And if I go to the bathroom to get this key, not just in general in life, if you go, he's not going to spawn until I go over here. So I can get all these things done, and you start optimizing this route. And I do kind of like speedruns anyway, even though I'm not super great. But you start really thinking about it, and there's these like, they thought about these things. They thought about these weird layers to it. So much fun, so much stuff to do. There's, one of the DLC is going to be, I think, like a combat arena. I'm super excited for that. The combat's fun. The combat is incredibly fun. And I wish there was more of it, kind of. Like, I would have played a game with that combat system. Like, give me the amount of enemies as Resident Evil 4, and let me play that game with these mechanics. Like, incredible. Truly, truly amazing. And the more, that's the other thing too, the more I think about this game, the more I love it. The more I love it. And I was going into it so, like, very hesitant. I'm buying this as a big fan of the series and I have to play it. Like, this is one of my games. Like, this is one of my series. I have to do it. But damn, I mean, my expectations were low because I didn't like the demo. I don't like PT, but I love the series. So, and then the reviews start coming out. Roller coaster of a week with me in Resident Evil. Fucking love it. Fucking love it. And how could you not like Resident Evil 4? You're crazy, guy. It's got to be in your top 10 games. Come on. What that game did for the industry. This could, in the same way that Outlast and all these games kind of started and sparked from Resident Evil, at least from an embryonic, like, horror, survival horror idea, this could spark some, like, indies to make games like this. Like, I don't really want to play Outlast, but I'll play a game like this. I'll play another game like this. They just do. Capcom knows what I want. This is Resident Evil, and this is what I want. I think that's a good place to end the review, right there. As I shove a bookcase off to the side. Yeah. Yeah, they really catered. They really did. They really catered to true fans of any of the games. Like, you could be a fan of 4 and love this. You could be a fan of 6 and love this. You could be a fan of 1 and love this game. It really kind of has all the elements in there in a perfect, like, Resident Evil soup. And it is, I don't know why they have the 7. That's not very welcoming to new fans, but the game itself is, you don't need to know nothing. You don't even need to know anything. Herbs, that could mean nothing to you. And that's fine. And that's awesome. It's awesome. Fucking love it. I want to end the show. End the show. We're playing Resident Evil. I'm fucking finish my speed run. Find all the booble heads. Boobly bobbly bobbly boobly. I just wish there was more puzzles. I would like some more puzzles, maybe a little more intricate and detailed. Remember Resident Evil 1 when you had like all the different keys and all the different puzzles kind of going on at the same time? More like that, not as ridiculous, but more like that. Just add another layer of puzzles, like a third floor, and you start going into the lab and a Metroidvania style exploration. Even saying that, that's how you make this better, I think. What we got's incredible. Incredible. This is the part of the game where you're safe. But you don't know that unless you play the game once. That's a good fucking game. That's enough. That's enough about this game. Good God. Is it good? Did Gaddy give you a hard time? Who is Zoe? I still don't even know. I still don't even know their whole relationship. Whatever. Out of control.